I'm just going to speak on this list that I came up with. This is called the 8 Great-Grands of Masters, Bloodlines. So these are my 8 great-grandparents. These are my 8 great-grandparents, right? You got your parents, which are 2, your grandparents, which are 4, great-grandparents are 8. Just keeps on doubling as it goes on up the line. So, who are my 8 great-grandparents, the great-grands of masters? Who are the 8 great-grands of masters? These are my bloodlines. Edward Deaton, Sarah Elizabeth Smith, Charles Anthony Couch, Beulah Chitwood, Ferdinand Gripshover, Elizabeth Hellman, George Anthony Gripshover, Mary Ann DeMosco. Edward Deaton, 1901 to 1978. Sarah Elizabeth Smith, 1902 to 1982. Charles Anthony Couch, 1907 to 1969. Beulah Chitwood, 1915 to 1996. Ferdinand Gripshover, 1862 to 1950. Elizabeth Hellman, 1862 to 1927. George Anthony Gripshover, 1889 to 1955. Mary Ann DeMosco, 1896 to 1947. So I'm just going to, it's probably going to be a little bit boring because I'm just going to kind of go through the families, but I think the families are important. I'm not going to go through all the dates or whatever, but I will go through all their names. And a lot of these families have, a lot of these folks have really big families, especially Edward Deaton. Edward Deaton had 12 siblings. So just to reiterate, because I think this is good for me, for anybody that's, for my children, for Abraham Katari, this is all good stuff to know who are you related to? Who did you come from? If it wasn't for Edward Deaton, Sarah Elizabeth Smith, Charles Anthony Couch, Beulah Chitwood, Ferdinand Gripshover, Elizabeth Hellman, George Anthony Gripshover, and Mary Ann DeMosco, I would not be here today. And so I must, give thanks to them. These are the roots for my children, so they know the foundations, they know where they came from. I'm going to do family the exact opposite the way that family was done to me. I'm going to make sure that my kids are safe, happy, healthy, make sure that they're well-fed. I'm going to talk to my kids, and I'm going to, actually give a damn. I'm actually going to give a damn. They're not going to have any doubts in their mind. Are they loved? Are they not loved? Of course they're fucking loved. They're my kids. So I'm going to have the exact opposite. I'm going to do family the exact opposite the way that family was done to me. Without further ado, Edward Deaton, okay, 1901, 1978, he's got 12 siblings. Charlie Brown Deaton, Robert B. Deaton, Sarah Jane Russell, Alexander Baker Deaton, Elizabeth Adams, Levi Deaton, Tymanda Smith, Lurline, Laurie Back, Wick B. Deaton, Martha Deaton, Mary H. Griffith, Mahala A. Ingle. Edward Deaton's parents are Thomas R. Deaton and Ellen J. Elsie Baker. Edward and Sarah's 5 kids are Delmer Deaton, James Edward Deaton, Lavina Adela DeGraw, Ralph Benjamin Deaton, Keith Albert Deaton. Edward Deaton married Sarah Elizabeth Smith on December 25th, 1920. Edward Deaton and Virginia, apparently they're going to get a divorce, and he's going to have, in his obituary, there was a Jerry that was mentioned as, being one of his kids that were surviving. So I have to assume that Jerry was from Virginia. That's who the wife. Virginia was the wife, and Jerry was a kid. I did not. And then Edward Deaton died of what? I don't know. I got some of their death certificates, but not all their death certificates. So that's Edward Deaton. Edward Deaton, I want to say come out of Breathitt County. He definitely came out of Eastern Kentucky. Eastern Kentucky, 12 siblings. 12 siblings. So could you imagine having 12 siblings? Charlie Brown, Robert B., Sarah Jane, Alexander, Elizabeth, Levi, Tamanda, Lurline, Wick, like a Kendall Wick, Martha, Mary H., Mahala A. Ingle. And I want to say Martha Deaton and Mary H. Griffith are twins, because they're both born in 1908. So there you go, God. That's going to 12 Deatons. I bet there's Deatons all over the goddamn place. I mean, 1901 to 1978, 12 different Deatons. Edward's going to find himself a wife, Sarah, produce 5 kids. They get divorced, and then he's going to die in Arizona somewhere. Sarah Elizabeth Smith. So this is the wife. They got the same kids, right? Delmer, James Edward, Lavina Adela DeGraw, Ralph Benjamin Deaton, and Keith Albert Deaton. Now, Keith Albert Deaton, his daughter died when she was like 14. His son died when he was super young. He gets a divorce, and then the dad dies. So basically you have like all these tragedies in Keith Albert Deaton's life, and then he's going to kill himself in 1981. So Keith Albert Deaton, Ralph Benjamin Deaton, Lavina Adela DeGraw, she lived in Florida. I got to meet her briefly. James Edward Deaton and Delmer Deaton, these 5 kids. Delmer Deaton died the same year he was born, so we could just kind of... James Edward Deaton died 2003. Lavina died 2010. Ralph Benjamin Deaton is still alive. I've only talked to him a few times. But that's my grandfather, and so that's my connection to the Deaton family. But I wonder, I mean, Keith Albert Deaton killed himself. I mean, that's the only thing I know, but looking at all this information, it's like, shit. I mean, he just went through a divorce. His one kid died. His other kid died. His dad just died. So, fuck. There's a lot of shit that he's going through. So, yeah, and then the fact that his father had 12 fucking siblings. Jesus Christ, this is a huge family. This is a huge family, and, yeah, maybe we can have a family reunion with all Edward Deaton's siblings. Was it Thomas Deaton's kids? Thomas Deaton and Ellen Baker. So all the children of Thomas Deaton and Ellen Baker. Maybe we can have one big bullshit what Ned Callahan did to James Deaton in Breathitt County. That's for goddamn sure. Which is why Govan Smith helped get rid of Ned Callahan, Govan Smith being the father of Sarah Elizabeth Smith. So, Sarah Elizabeth Smith, who was Grandma Deaton, died just a few days after I was born, 1902 to 1982. She had 6 siblings. So, her dad is Govan Smith. Her mother is Mary Lavina Wells. Mary Lavina Wells. Where did Lavina come from? It came from Sarah Elizabeth. It came from her grandmother's middle name. James Golden Smith, Jeremiah Daniel Smith, Berkey Smith, Henry Smith, Mattie Smith, and Govan Smith Jr. Now the crazy thing about Govan Smith Jr. is he's going to be born the same year that Govan Smith dies. And so he's born, so yeah, I mean, that's possible, but that's crazy, right? So Govan Smith, Mattie Smith, Henry Smith, Berkey Smith, B-U-R-K-E-Y, Berkey, Jeremiah Daniel, and James Golden Smith. So Sarah Elizabeth had 6 siblings. She had 6 siblings. She was the oldest. Basically, all these are the oldest, right? Teresa was the oldest. Mary Ann Damasco is the oldest. Sarah Elizabeth Smith is the oldest of, 7. She's got 6 siblings, 7 if you include herself. So James Golden, Jeremiah, Berkey, Henry. There's, 4 Smiths who's going to carry the Smith name on, and then Mattie, and then Govan Smith. So Mattie, I wonder who Mattie got married to. Mattie probably didn't end up a Smith. Could look into that. Sarah Elizabeth's parents. Okay, so Govan Smith died of lobar pneumonia. So I'm not sure exactly. I mean, he died at 40 years of age, so that seems suspicious to me. Sarah Elizabeth. Now, Govan Smith is part of Bloody Breathitt. Govan Smith helped to get Ned Callahan. Ned Callahan killed James Deaton in 1898. James Deaton had a huge family. I don't know the connection between James Deaton's family and Edward Deaton's family, my family, but I'm sure there's a connection somewhere. But I do have a direct connection with Govan Smith, and Govan Smith was right in the middle of all that shit, too, so... Govan Smith, hell yeah, Govan. So, Sarah Elizabeth grew up with 6 siblings, right? She's the oldest, has all these people coming up, and so then she's got 5 kids, right? She married Edward Deaton on December 25th, 1920. I'm not for sure what she died of. So they got married on Christmas. 1920, right? 101 years ago. Charles Anthony Kautz, 1907 and 1969. Kautz, it's German. Frida Baker Kautz, Emma H. Kautz, these are all his siblings. Frida, Emma, Marie, Mary, Loretta, and Elmer. So 5 sisters and 1 brother. Elmer Joseph Kautz. Loretta A. Schulkenweiss. Schulkenweiss, Frida Baker, Emma H., Marie Anna, and then Mary Counts. So you had Charles Anthony Counts. He had 6 siblings. Charles' parents was Carl Counts the First, and Maria Wackenheim. Some part Wackenheim. So you have Charles Anthony Counts and Beulah Chitwood. I knew her as Rupert, but she was Chitwood. And then Deaton, right? No, Counts. She was Chitwood, then Counts, and Rupert. And she never had any Rupert blood. She produced some Counts, never had any Counts blood, but she's a Chitwood. It's her daddy's name. Right? The fathers get to pass the names on, but the mothers get deleted out of history. So they had 2 kids. Charles Anthony Counts and Beulah Chitwood had Carol June Counts Nicely and Barbara Deaton Williams Nee Counts. 1935, 1939. I think they're both living today. And again, my grandmother. They didn't give a shit. They did not give a shit. My grandparents, the 2 living grandparents that I had, the other 2 are dead. So I have 2 living grandparents, and I would love to hear what happened in the good old days, 1930s, 1940s. Let's record, but they don't want to be a part of my life. They don't want to giving a shit. Could you imagine losing somebody just because you couldn't give a shit? Like, I could care about George Floyd. He's dead and gone, but what the fuck happened to George Floyd is bullshit. I can give a shit. It's free to give a shit. It's easy to give a shit. And you make a mockery of your own fucking conscience if you don't give a shit. So how many motherfucking people have lost their way? Catcher in the Rye, no wonder the fucking fake-ass adults. All these fucking adults are such fake-ass motherfuckers. I don't know what Carl Counts died of. Beulah Chitwood was only 17 years old when Carl Counts married her. So that was December 19th, 1932. Beulah Chitwood, she also had a big family. She would be the 2nd biggest family of the 8 greats. James, I think I'm actually going to, I'm getting tired, so I think I'm going to cut this in half and then do the second half in a minute. But Beulah K. Chitwood, not K. I see some corrections too as of. So Beulah K. Chitwood, I think K is Counts. So I don't know her actual middle name. 1915 to 1996. I knew Beulah. Beulah, you weren't allowed to ask her for a pop or whatever. But the old man would take, his kids up there. So me and my siblings knock on the door. We're little kids, or we would ring the doorbell as if we had drove all the way to Florence to the nursing home to go see her. And it was, it was fun and interesting. And she was always nice and pleasant and warm and kind. Now, I remember she had these little coasters underneath, and this is, just me, my kid fucking memory, but just you could take these coasters apart and it had a nice little piece of felt in the middle, and that's what I did at her place. Just take these coasters apart, put them back together. I like Beulah. Beulah was warm. Beulah was kind. Beulah was sweet. And I just feel like I was young, and so I feel like, God, I don't know what the hell she thought of me, but I wish I would have known her today, because I would have, cherished her and talked to her and got to know her. And she had 10 siblings. She's a big Chitwood. She dies alone, brain aneurysms in her bathtub or whatever. So she's got 10 siblings, and then she had 2 kids, and then she had 2 husbands. Dies alone. And then some people are worried about nursing home, but, I don't know. It's just different levels, right? People are homeless, so it's kind of weird. If you're homeless and you're struggling to worry about a person who's got a house, and they're just worried about their retirement 50 years from now. Oh, you're worried about your retirement? Well, and then you're concerned about their retirement while you're fucking... So Beulah Chitwood, Winfield used to be known as Chitwood. James Chitwood was a fucking British fuck who got killed. And so they all ran out of North Carolina and went to Tennessee. So Beulah Chitwood is Claude James Chitwood. These are her siblings. Her parents are David Howard Chitwood and Sally Ann Baker. So David Howard and Sally Ann Baker had these kids: Claude James Chitwood, Maud May Ross, Lena Evelyn Ross. I guess they married brothers: Christine Nanny Triling Nee Chitwood, John Clyde Chitwood, Chester Lee Chitwood, Jessie Lynn Overbeck, Beulah Couts, Ronald David Chitwood, Vera Chitwood. Her two kids, Carol June Couts Nicely, Barbara Deaton Williams, Nee Couts. And she married Carl December 19th, 1932, when she was 17 years old. And like I said, she died of a brain aneurysm. And I don't know actually I know that from just word of mouth, because I was there when they said what had happened. But I don't know. I don't have the death certificate. So I don't have 100% confirmation on that. So that's my paternal side, and then we're going to get to my maternal side here in a second, but that's Ferdinand Gripshover, Elizabeth Hellman, George Anthony Gripshover, and Marianne Damasco coming up in a second.